Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 3-Wide Indycar Edition. This week, the Verizon Indycar Series was at Long Beach for the Long Beach Grand Prix. Even though the race was dominated by one car, Alexander Rossi, I believe this was a really good race. Even with Rossi dominating, it seemed like there were many cars who had shots to go get him, but just couldn't do it for other reasons. Whether it was Power, who had more push to pass, or Sebastian Bourdais, who made a crazy pass on Scott Dixon and others, but then was penalized for it. So now into the three bad things that came out of Long Beach. Number 1, Pagenaud punted. On lap 1 going into turn 1, Simon Pagenaud passed Will Power, and then Will Power got underneath him, which led to Graham Rahal getting into the back of Simon Pagenaud, sending him spinning into the wall, ending his day. Pagenaud started third in the race and was some people's pick to dethrone Rossi, who looked to be the best car all weekend. After that wreck in turn 1, not even making the first corner, we'll never know if Pagenaud could have been the guy to beat Rossi this week. And who knows, maybe later in the year, if he's in a championship hunt, this will come back to haunt him. Number 2, Ryan Hunter-Reay's problems. During the whole Simon Pagenaud melee, Ryan Hunter-Reay was going underneath Scott Dixon, and I guess Scott Dixon didn't see he was underneath and clipped Ryan Hunter-Reay's front ring, breaking it. This would not be the only problem for Hunter-Reay on the day. He then punctured a tire, and then when Sebastian Bourdais went spinning around, Hunter-Reay just banged into him, not causing damage, but had him stuck there and had to let a lot of cars by, which was a huge roadblock on his day. He ended up finishing 20th, 4 laps down. And number 3, Sebastian Bourdais' day not rewarded. Sebastian Bourdais started the race in 9th place. Later on in the race, going into turn 1, he made a crazy pass on Scott Dixon, Spencer Pigot, and Matthias Lace, which then ended up being penalized because he partially went into the exit of the pit road, which Dixon only held for 2 corners when Bourdais got right past him to set his sights back on Rossi, but he lost about a second and a half to Rossi. Later on in the race, Bourdais went to make a pit stop, but the pits were closed when Zach Clama de Mello got into the wall, bringing out a caution, which made Bourdais go down the pit road at pit speed, not get service, and have to cycle back around 10th place. He then had to make his pit stop later, and this would cause more problems, as in the hairpin, Jordan King, who just came in to get his brakes fixed, went in a little too hot, got Bourdais spinning around. He went into the aforementioned Ryan Hunter-Reay, and Robert Wickens stalled the car, bringing out another caution. Overall, Bourdais put on a lot to show for this week at Long Beach and was rewarded with a 13th place finish. He led 4 laps. After a strong effort at St. Petersburg, where he won after Wickens was taken out, Bourdais just took a big hit in the championship this week, where he could have had probably a top 5 finish and ended up with 13th. Now on to the good that came out of Long Beach. Number 1, Ed Jones and Zach Veach get top 5 finishes. After looking like he would get a podium finish in Phoenix, Ed Jones put it into the wall, ending his day and not getting a good finish. This week at Long Beach, he came back with a 3rd place finish to get his first podium of the season and his first podium with his new team, Chip Ganassi. As a person who was real high on Ed Jones going into this season with the backing of Chip Ganassi, this gives me new hope that he'll start showing what I thought he'd be going into this season. Now on to Zach Veach. Zach Veach has finished 16th twice this year, both at St. Petersburg and Phoenix, and last year he had 2 starts. One with Ed Carpenter Racing when he was replacing the injured J.R. Hildebrand at Alabama, in which he finished 19th, and at the Indianapolis 500 for A.J. Foyt, he finished 26th. Now at Long Beach, Zach Veach qualified, you guessed it, 16th, which then put people's expectations very low for the day. Veach ended up getting a 4th place finish for the best finish of his career. Now we'll see if Veach can keep this going when they go to Barber next week. Number 2, Will Power bounces back. After qualifying second at St. Pete, Power spun out in the beginning of the race, which was a roadblock on his day, which he could have probably ended up with a podium and didn't. Then last week at Phoenix, Power got offline, putting it into the wall and not getting a good finish again. Now going into Long Beach with another 2nd place qualifying effort, it seemed like Power could go for the win again or could end up putting it into the wall. Power ended up finishing 2nd, the exact same place where he started. As a person who picked Power to win the championship this season, this gives me newfound hope that Power will be able to ride this wave of momentum into Barber next week and into the month of May with the Indy GP, where he won last year, and Indy 500, where he's been decent and then just had some problems getting his way. And number 3, Alexander Rossi's rocket ship. After being the fastest in practices 2 and 3, the morning warm-up, and getting the pole in qualifying, Rossi seemed like a shoe-in to win. As we've seen, being a shoe-in to win to most people like Robert Wickens at St. Pete usually doesn't end well. But Rossi led 71 laps and won his 3rd career race in the Indycar series. Rossi showed today that he's one of the top guys to win the championship this year, where he's had good finishes at Phoenix and St. Pete, and then gets a win today. I believe Rossi could be a shoe-in for 2+ more wins this season. Now what to look ahead to at the Honda Indy GP of Alabama at Barber Motorsports Park. Number 1, will Andretti keep it moving? The Andretti cars finished 1st, 4th, and 6th, and Ryan Hunter-Reay has problems and finished 20th. If he didn't have those problems, I definitely believe he finishes in the top 10. Now going into Barber, will Andretti keep it rolling with Rossi's rocket ship like he showed today? Will he have that same kind of power at Barber next week? Number 2, the Penske battle resumes. If we remember this race last year, it came down to Will Power having a tire go down, which then his new teammate Joseph Newgarden went on to win the race, which is just one of many Power's problems at the beginning of last season. Now with the new aero kits, we'll see if Penske can keep up their dominance here, and if it will come down to Newgarden, Power, and Pagenaud. And number 3, will Rossi keep rolling? After 2 third-place finishes at St. Pete and Phoenix, Rossi wins at Long Beach. Now we'll see if Rossi can ride his huge wave of momentum into Barber and get a win or keep his podium streak alive. Now that'll do it this week for 3 Wide. Tell me what you thought about this weekend's race in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.